this is. Today we're going to talk about sync stems for sync on the Syncrets To Success podcast. Shout out to those who have been listening and watching and experiencing the Syncrets To Success podcast. Shout out to everyone that's been joining the Syncrets To Success community on Facebook. A lot of opportunities are being posted there. I recently finished up pitching an album to a major artist, and a lot of the collaborators I found were from the community there. So shout out to the community. Be sure to join Syncrets To Success. I have a link in the description, and also in the description I will have a link to the sponsor of some of the episodes for Syncrets To Success, including ASTS. Shout out to ASTS, an incredible sound design company. They're creating sounds for music producers and composers and beat makers like me and you, so that we can use those sounds in our productions. There is a 20% discount that you can use by using the link or the code that is in the description below. So today we're going to talk all about stems. I'm actually working on a trailer album for a library, and I have to provide stems once all the music is accepted, and the music has been accepted. So now I'm actually on the last, I hope I'm on the last track that I have to do stems for. I'm going to show you what I use in Logic. This is the best way, hands down, the best way to do stem bouncing offline, and also saves you time. It saves me hours, especially when I have huge sessions and I got to do all kinds of different STEM things. I've shown this on my YouTube channel. I don't know if I've released a video yet, but there's even updates since I've recorded the video for that. And the software is called Auto Bounce. So let me flip the camera here. I'm going to try to do this one-handed and show this is Logic Pro. This is the session I'm working on. I'm going to open up this software called Auto Bounce. So you will notice when the software opens up, it wants to scan my Logic Pro session. I have to make sure first, there's a lot of setup on the back end you have to do. You only have to do it once to get Auto Bounce to work. One thing is you want to make sure your volume and pan are not shown. You want to make sure your power is shown. You have some settings up here in the, where are we at? In the toolbar, you have to change. So you want to make sure all those things are set, and they walk you through what settings to change once you have all that set up. And I'm going to hit scan here. The trick is when you hit scan, you cannot do anything on your computer. So I'm going to hit scan. It's going to take a couple seconds for this part. This is not doing the bouncing yet. If it runs into errors, it'll tell you, hey, we can't do something because the window isn't big enough, or whatever, whatever the issue is. It will give you a warning. So it's scanning my whole session so that it can do the bounces when needed. And once that happens, it will finalize there, and you will see sort of all my tracks here in this window. If I want, I can have the master bypass shown. And yeah, so I'm going to go through a couple of these settings here in Auto Bounce. I will have a link in the description. It will be an affiliate link. Please use that link to check out Auto Bounce to purchase the software. Again, this is only for Logic. I don't know if they're working on other or similar platforms for, Ableton and Pro Tools and FL Studio and all that. But for Logic Pro, this is the best way to do stem bouncing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to label this. This will be my stems, and then I like to put in parentheses, as I'm trying to do this one-handed, mastered, M-A-S-T-E-R-E-D. And it'll have some of my master processing. For this particular library, they just want minimal mastering, but I like to put that in there because I do have some stuff on the master bus that will be bouncing with that. And then what I can do is choose what do I want to bounce. In this case, I want to do all the stems there, and if I wanted, I could have a bunch of different jobs. So I can say I want this bounce to be all AIF 2448, but let's say the library also wants MP3. I can say duplicate this job, and I can say this one, I want all the stems to be wave, or they don't do MP3. Actually, they do. Where's MP3 down here? I can say I want all these to be MP3, and it's going to do MP3 bounce of all that. Or I can go into each track individually and say I just want to bounce the damage or damage 2 drums. Or I can say I want to bounce the mix, and I can have different mixes. So there's one library I work with where they want me to have a percussion mix, so I can say I want to mix with just the percussion, and I can uncheck all of these, and then actually I will do deselect. I'm not going to do all these bounces right now, but you can see how useful it can be. And you can relabel this, so I can call this, perk mix or whatever, PERC, whatever the library wants it to be called, perk mix. I'm trying to do this one-handed, so that's why things are looking weird. And then this one can be the, let's say this is going to be the alarm, brum, boom. So I can just choose all kinds of different mixes. The icons here help you identify what bounces you're doing. So I can do, I've done up to 20, 30 different bouncing options within Auto Bounce, and it just does it offline. Again, it might take 30 minutes, an hour, and when it's doing all that, you can't do anything on your computer. So what I've done is I've set up bounces after completing a song for libraries, and I go wash dishes, do laundry, hang out with the family, and just check back in, every 30 minutes or so to see when things are done. I do like to check in sometimes more often, like 10-15 minutes, just to make sure there's no errors and I have to rebounce something. But auto bounce is the best platform for that. And not only can you do the bouncing of, let me go back to stems here, different mixes, you can do stems and you can have the stems all bounce from the start and end point, same start and end point. You can also do the variable end. So if you have files that end at different locations, you can have that. Or if you have files staggered, so let's say you're doing a lot of sound design, you can choose that option and it'll bounce those just along the timeline, depending on how you have your session set up. I like this one because I'm just doing start and end points, all one long file for each stem there. So that is what you can do with the stem auto bounce function in Logic Pro. I'm gonna delete, I don't need to do this one or this one. And then you have all kinds of settings. Actually, did I delete the whole thing? I might have deleted the whole thing. Let's go back to auto bounce. Auto bounce. It's going to rescan. You'll see the whole process again. Again, I will have a link where you can check out auto bounce in the description. It will be an affiliate link. Again, this is the best way. Can I turn the camera back around while it's doing that? The best way for me that I found to bounce in Logic Pro, if you are a Logic Pro user. So the link below, it'll say, are you a Logic Pro user? And then it'll have a link to check out auto bounce. Okay, it scanned the session. So we're gonna do this one more time. This time I'm just gonna do I wanna do stems. And I want my stems to be mastered. If you wanted to bypass the master effects, I can say allow master out bypass, and I can deselect. I use God Particle, Ozone 11, Oxford, Inflator, Goldfoss. So that's my basic master process channel there. In this case, I took off Ozone 11, and I'm just doing the Goldfoss and the Oxford Inflator. This particular library, they don't need it fully mastered. They do some mastering on their end, so I just need some light mastering, light limiting, light compression. So that is what I have, so I don't have to bypass those effects. If you wanted to do different mixes like I showed earlier, you can do that. So in this case, I'm just doing the stems. So it shouldn't take too long. And again, I've been doing this for about the last hour or so with different sessions, because I am trying to finish this project for this library and give them all the stems so that they can put the album out and we can get some placements, right? So I'm going to call this stems mastered, and I'm going to say I want to save this to, before I hit bounce, I want to make sure I'm saving it in the right place. So I want to save it here in my bounce folder. This is called Adrenaline Rush. And yeah, I might have bounced it already. I saw it in the folder. Again, I want to do AIF 2448. You have all these different settings here. I'm usually doing AIF 2448. I usually don't do normalization. If you want to do MP3s, AAC, you can bounce all those different formats all at once. So you don't have to do multiple different bounces and things like that. So I'm going to hit bounce, and it's going to take some time to go through the process. And as it's doing it, hopefully there won't be any errors. But if there are errors, again, you'll get a pop-up to say, hey, this window did this thing. It's not going to work because of this. Redo it and restart. But right now, I'm not clicking anything. My hands are off the computer. It is just doing its thing. The AI, or it's not AI, but it is, maybe it is AI, but automatically just bouncing stems. This is a software called Auto Bounce. If you use Logic Pro, the best way to bounce stems. Some DAWs have this. Let me turn the camera around. You'll see a progress bar. There's an orange. There, you just saw it a little bit. It'll tell me how far things are along in the bounce process. And then when it's done, I hear like a little noise. But some DAWs already have this functionality built in. This is a software, if you use Logic, that you have to pay for. Ideally, I would love if the team at Apple would purchase this software and just integrate it within Logic natively. That would be great. And I'm sure Tom Salta and his team who built Auto Bounce would be incredibly grateful for selling their product to Apple. But maybe they're working on some other platforms. I don't know. I'm sure it would be great for those that don't have it, if it would be made available for Pro Tools and Ableton and things like that. I don't know if it's already built into those DAWs. I mostly use Logic, and this has been a pain point for me for years, and for a lot of people, is bouncing stems, especially if you have to bounce stems through the master process channel. It's easy to just bounce stems that don't have to go through the master bus, because you just bounce it and it's just one and done. But when you have to bounce stems that go through the master bus channel, or if you have to bounce different mixes, so I have to do like a just drum only mix, underscore mix, no percussion mix, things like that. You can do all that within Auto Bounce and set that up. So I'm about halfway there. Let me show you the progress bar. In this case, it's not going to take too long. Like I said, it's not a huge session. I'm not doing a bunch of different bounces for this one. So it's going to be fairly quick. But you can see right there how it's going to save time. For me, it saves 30 minutes, hours, sometimes depending on the bounces that I'm doing. So I just set it up. One time setup, when you purchase the software, you set it up. It takes about 15-20 minutes to go through they have videos, they have articles you can read, settings that you need to set up. And once you have it set up in Logic, you're good to go. You just have to save certain presets, certain settings and things, certain user defaults for the mix window and for the what is it, the toolbar at the top. But yeah, stems. I mean, it's probably the most time consuming thing between stems and putting in the actual metadata and labeling and all that. All of the, I would call, admin work that things like this make it easier. And then of course, if you have an assistant, you can just show them how to use software like this and be like, look, today's stem day, bounce all these sessions out. Here's how you can use auto bounce. Give them a write up or a video, and let them run away with it. So we are getting close to the end of the bouncing here, and once that's done, you will hear the noise, and I will let you hear the noise. And then I'm gonna do. I think that was the last. Let me check my. I might have. I have two more, actually, two more tracks I got to do the bounce for. So I might stay on here and do one more on this live, so you can see the whole process again for the next track I got to do. But we're getting, let's see, a little close to the end. You might have heard that noise. It came from my headphones, but once it's done, it's a green icon. It says all bounce jobs finished. I can hit OK, and I can close that if I'm done. So what I'm going to do is turn my camera. I'm going to close auto bounce, and then I'm going to open up that track was called, or that song was called. What was that song called? That song was called Adrenaline Rush. And the next one I'm doing is called Code Red. So I'm going to open up Code Red, and I'm going to close this session, and I'm going to do the same thing in the next two. And I don't have the chat open. If you have any questions, feel free to drop a chat, and then hopefully I'll see it. I see some people are watching live. Again, it's late where I am. It's about midnight. But yeah, really just been working. I worked on an album over the last couple days to pitch to sync, or not to pitch to an artist. And I sent out a call for singers and songwriters over the weekend, and 11, well, a bunch of people responded. I ended up working with 11 songwriters to create 16 songs for a major artist album, and I sent it off today. So fingers crossed. I would love to land the whole album. That would be just incredible. I would love to produce the whole album, and there's a lot of sync focused music on the album that we put together. So fingers crossed, wish us luck. Thank you to all the collaborators that worked on that. I'm opening up now. This song is called Code Red for this library. Again, my goal is to finish bouncing these out, to submit these tonight before I fall asleep to this library, and then I'll probably be done for the day or for the evening. And then wake up tomorrow and do some more. I get a lot of briefs coming in, but a lot of times, I got to focus on one thing at a time. You can really only do one thing at a time. So it's like, okay, am I gonna do this song for sync? Am I gonna do this trailer? Am I gonna work on metadata for this album? Am I gonna work on bouncing stems? When you are the only person doing it, you have to make sure you have at least some sense of a schedule. If you're not on a strict schedule, which I'm not on a strict schedule, as you can tell by the episodes of this podcast, other than the first 31 episodes, which were all, once a day, every day for 31 days straight. After that, it's all, up for grabs. I might go live. Today you might not see me for another week, but I'm trying to do at least one episode a week and focus on different areas of sync and trailing music. So this one, the session is opening really slowly for whatever reason. Let me make sure my computer didn't crash, which hopefully it didn't. I know I got to do some updates on my computer. It's just taking a long time to open up. But the session is going to open up. I'll let you see. Once it opens up, I'll let you see the whole process again with auto bounce. There will be a link in the description. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this episode is sponsored by ASTS, which is an incredible sound company providing sound like sounds for us music creators. You can get 20% off ASTS libraries by using the link in the description below. There's some other links in the description, including the link to the Facebook group called Syncrets To Success that I run. The name of this podcast, Syncrets To Success. That Facebook group is usually where I post initially when I'm looking for collaborators for the projects I'm working on, sync licensing, movie trailers, whatever projects, albums now. This was the first sort of album pitch I've done where it was Actually, not the first. It's a new company I work with, and they've already sent out opportunities to pitch to 3 major artist albums over the last couple weeks. So, fingers crossed. This is the one where I've submitted the most to because we had a couple days and really locked in with some incredible singers and songwriters. Yeah, they locked in and got it done. So I have a pop up here. I got to locate some files, some of my um, loops and things that I was using. Now I got to figure out where. This file is. That is one thing that I got to figure out in Logic is when files go not missing, they're on my drive. I just got to find them and I got to reconnect them to the session. So a lot of my sound effects I just bring off of my external hard drive into the sessions. I know there's a way to not have to do that every time, but I just didn't sit down. I haven't sat down to figure that out yet. So I got to go through and identify each of these files. Let me make sure that I didn't miss a pop-up here. It's not, I don't know if I can see the chat. I don't think I saw. I thought I saw something, but then I don't think I saw something. So this session is opening again. This is taking longer to open up this session than it is to to export the files. So here is the session, which is still struggling to open. I thought I turned it. Spinning Wheel of Death, hoping that everything opens up and I don't get a computer like error. So I'm gonna let that do its thing. It looks like it just finished. Okay, so I'm going to show you this session. I'm not playing any music, but basically more trailer music. This will be on the album that I'm working for this library. And I'm gonna go to, I have to right click here. So I'm gonna put the camera down, right click or control click, and I want to go to apply user defaults. And that will get rid of the volume and the pan and everything because that cannot be shown for the auto bounce software. And I believe that's it. Some of the other things I've already set up on the back end. So I'm going to open up auto bounce again. It will ask to scan my session. So I'm going to hit scan and then I just sit back again while auto bounce is doing its thing. It will you can't do anything else. And here's an error. I wanted to show this. The mixer panel is too full. You must lower the mixer panel to show at least one track. So I'm going to hit quit for auto bounce. So as you can see, when the mixer panel is up, I don't see any of my tracks over here. So I have to lower this to see at least one of those or two of those tracks. At least one. So now I can open up auto bounce again, and we will try to scan again and see if we get another error message. So I'm hitting scan. Let's see what happens this time. Again, this process, it just takes a few minutes to get the scanning going. And then once it's scanning, that could be anywhere up to, the longest I've done is I think a little over an hour for doing a bunch of different stem bouncing where I don't have to sit here. I set it up, say I want to bounce these things. Here's another error. The Logic project's end time is not set to 1. Let's see. The Logic project's end time ticks is not set to 1. Please set the project end time ticks to 1 and then click retry. I don't know how to do that. So I'm going to hit show me how, which I've never seen this option before. So it actually walks you through. I'm going to quit auto bounce. It walks you through what you need to do. So I need to set it to 1. So let me go back to Logic and see where the end is set to. I thought it was set to 1. Maybe they mean this thing down here, the end. I set that to like 53. Let me go back to, so it actually walks you through like, hey, you need to do this thing. Let's see what it's doing. It is moving that to bar. Oops, you're not seeing the video. So it's moving it to a bar. So I'm thinking that's what they mean. And yeah, let's go back to Logic. I moved it to bar 53, which is the end of my song. I'm going to go back to auto bounce. Again, they really help you through the process. I'm going to hit scan again. We'll see if we get another error. Fingers crossed, nothing this time. But this is all real time. I'm leaving all this in the video so you can see how the process works. And again, this saves me a lot of time on the bouncing for Logic Pro. There is a link in the description, an affiliate link. It will be no additional cost to you, but if you use that link, I will get a little bit of kickback. Now, what are we seeing? The Logic project end time ticks is not set to 1. I don't know what that means. Okay, let's try this again. I'm going to hit quit. Please set the project end time to 1. So I am on... Let's go to ticks. End time. Oh, maybe they mean this side, the beginning. I don't know why I have a little early thing there. We're gonna start this. Let's go back to bars beats. I'm thinking that's what they mean. Maybe there's a beginning there that I was doing something weird with. Let's try it again. Auto bounce. All right, we'll hit scan again, and let's see what happens here. Fingers crossed that works out. This will be the last thing I have to do before I go to sleep. So this is my sort of way of bouncing stems. I have to figure out what this error is, and for some reason I can't crack the code. And I go to show me how, and it takes me to the site, and it looks like I have everything set up. So I got to figure that part out. But I would say auto bounce is a great way to. I have to figure out what this show me how what this ticks is not set to 1. As you saw in the last session, that wasn't the issue. I got to figure out what's going on in this session, so I got to go through the site that it takes me to and watch that video a couple times to figure out what it is I am doing wrong, because I have it set to bar. It's going to an even bar, which is what it says there. So I got to figure that out. But you can see that you can use the software once you have it set up. Make sure your bars and everything's are set right, which I'm going to figure out in a few minutes. You can use this to save a lot of time. I saved time in a bunch of different sessions bouncing them out, stemming them out. This is the first time I've had this issue. So, and of course, once I figure that out, it won't be an issue ever again. So check out Auto Bounce. There will be a link in the description. Shout out to ASCS for sponsoring this episode. There will be more videos of Syncrets to Success. Join the Facebook group Syncrets to Success on Facebook, where I post about sync opportunities, where I'm looking for collaborators and things like that. There will be a link below. And also follow me on social media, Fingaz, DAFINGAZ, and I will see you in the next episode. All right. Peace.